Granny Marble's table. Old Hop Sing's going to be rolling out the dough for Nanny's yeast rolls, a big old chicken fried steak, some jalapeno gravy, and plenty of that cool cucumber salad, and a big old heaping helping of ag information headed your direction. First up, an appetizer of ag weather. Around down on the farm country, we'll begin up in Abilene, where we have KLGD 106.9, the country giant. Today, 92 the high. Tomorrow, Thursday, 93 the high. Less than a 20% chance of rain. Both days are winds out of the northwest at 7, and then coming back out of the southeast about 8. Let's trek down to Mason, where we've got Lone Star 102.5 KHLB. 95 today, 95 tomorrow. 30% chance of moisture today. Our winds Thursday and Friday, we'll call them out of the east, somewhere between 6 and 15 mile an hour. San Antonio, you've got a 30% chance of moisture today, 95 the high, 95 tomorrow with less than a 10% chance of moisture. Your winds on Thursday out of the east, let's say 3 to 8 mile an hour. On Friday, we'll call them out of the east also, 5 to 10 miles an hour. Let's go over to Edna and El Campo. Partly cloudy today, 96 the high. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, 98. Our winds today out of the east about 10 mile an hour. Tomorrow, out of the east, 6 to 9 mile an hour. And finally, neighbor Corpus Christi, where we have 97.5 real country KFTX. A thunderstorm today, a 40% thereof, 93 the high. A 30% chance tomorrow on Thursday, 96 the high. Our winds today, Wednesday, we'll call them out of the east about 8. Thursday, out of the northeast about 8. And neighbor, we're watching what looks like 99L. It's could be a tropical depression by, say, Saturday. We will keep you abreast of that. The track right now has it coming, in somewhere between, say, Corpus Christi and Houston. And there's your weather, neighbor. I tell you what, I'm going to get in the pickup and drag the trailer down to the pens and rope us a livestock market operator report. And then I'll ride the John Deere tractor down to the mailbox and check grains and cotton, bring it back and report to y'all on that. While I handle those chores, y'all listen to the Texas Farm Bureau Radio News Network.
FMD vaccine. I'm Jessica Dolmel with the update on the Texas Farm Bureau Radio Network. The Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service is accepting comments on a petition filed by Zoetis to manufacture a vaccine for foot and mouth disease on the mainland United States. The U.S. Department of Agriculture granted Zoetis a permit to bring an FMD virus onto the mainland that is genetically modified, so it's incapable of becoming infectious, pathogenic, or contagious, according to the Federal Register notice. Currently, the only live FMD virus is allowed at the Plum Island Animal Disease Center off of Long Island, New York. APHIS is accepting comments on any potential concerns people may have on the development of an FMD vaccine on the mainland United States. APHIS is accepting comments on Zoetis' petition for 60 days on regulations.gov.
6 F-35A fighter jets, 1 NFL team, a trip to the moon, all have $1 billion price tag. Something else that costs $1 billion? Respiratory challenges in cattle each year. It's time to fight back against costly respiratory challenges. That's why Purina starter feeds are formulated with RX3 immune support technology. It boosts calves' natural defenses, priming their immune systems from the start. Talk to your Purina rep to learn more.
You're more than a rancher. You do what's right and trust others to do the same. That's the Texas way. Hi, I'm Pat McDowell, and we ranch near Shamrock, Texas. In 2019, your dollars helped the beef-loving Texans brand reach consumers nearly 300 million times. Efforts like the hit Hulu series BarbecQuest and successful advertising prove that your checkoff is working hard to keep beef in its strongest state. Find out more at TexasBeefCheckoff.com, funded by the Texas Beef Council.
For the Texas Farm Bureau Radio Network, I'm Jessica Dolmel.
Neighbor, let's take a look at our commodities of ag interest. We update these as we move toward the noon hour. We do our best with our 14 affiliate stations, our live stream, etc., etc., etc. Let's take a look at December corn, up 2 1/4, 3.33 even money. November soybeans down to 8.91 even. September Kansas City hard red winter wheat at 4 1/2 at 4.47 even money. Your December number 2 cotton contract down 33 at 62.62. October live cattle down 40 at 105.72. September feeder cattle down 2.5, 142.97. October lean hogs down 12.5, 49.90. And Class 3 milk, the August contract up 13 at 23.43. The September U.S. dollar index down 170 points at 94.89. Our September West Texas Intermediate crude down 43 at 41.49. Your commodities of ag interest as close to the noon hour as we can get them. Neighbor, we can hear that auctioneer sound off on a Wednesday. It's time to sell some more sheep and goats. In fact, about 4,300 more at San Angelo. Producers in Cargyle, they've had a 2-day sale. Denny Cox, that seems to be the norm this year, doesn't it?
Yeah, this would be the 4th in a row, and that's about 5 in 12 years. So that tells you something about how this movement is. We sold 8,100 yesterday, and we got about 4,500 to start with this morning. Since we've been doing it for 4 days or so, we might catch some. We generally don't catch many, on the Wednesday after we get started. But anyway, we got along quite well, I thought, with the numbers. It's about what we sold last week. We sold 12,609 or something, I think it was. Anyway, compared to last week, we had a good many really nice wool lambs that have been castrated, feeder-type lambs. Of course, all of them went to the ethnic kill market. They sold near steady. Now, your slaughter hair lambs, lots of them, kind of $10 to $15 lower is how I saw that deal. The slaughter ewes, they were kind of up and down. I called them weak. In some spots they were just as good as they were last week, but the bulk of them didn't sell quite as strong. Kid goats, they were $10 to $15 lower at least. I saw some that might have been a little lower than that. Those old big things, though, big old Billy kids that weighed up there in that 70-plus pound range, gee, they wasn't any cheaper, I can tell you. We saw these nannies, and they softened up a little yesterday. Of course, they were crazy good last week. They sell in a range from 130 to 230, but mostly 150 to 175. And if you remember what happened last week, they sold closer to that 180 or 90 than the 175. The mature billies, the quotes were much the same, kind of 180 all the way up to 268. That was a new high, but that deal wasn't quite as hot as last week. 220 to 40 would, you'd start them at 220, it didn't slow down, but wasn't quite as zippy. On the wool feeder lambs, they sold in a range from 165 to 210. On the light end of these slaughter lambs, or these lambs going to slaughter, they were hair sheep type from 170 all the way to 230, and the heavyweights from 150 to $2. On the ewes, they sell in a range from 70 to 114. Kid goats from 250 to 334, but mostly 290 to 305. And we still had some of those larger muttons selling up there, way up there. Some of them selling up to as high as $375 a pound.
Good deal. Be a great sale week at Producers in Cargyle, San Angelo. Benny, tell everybody how to contact you.
They can call me on my mobile. It's 325-234-4277. Office, same area code, 653-3371, or they can always look at the web, which is producersandcargyle.com.
I'm Larry Marble from Down on the Farm, and we're with Levi Anderson. Levi, the Stay Tough product is a great seller at D&D, and you've got some high fence specials, don't you?
Absolutely, Larry. We have 2096 deer wire that we're running on special for $349 this spring, while supplies last.
Tell everyone how to get a hold of you for this particular product at D&D.
You can reach one of our friendly staff here at the store, 830-379-7340.
We appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you, kind sir.
Neighbor, I can see you mouth-watering. Old Hop Sing is about to serve chicken fried steak, jalapeno gravy, plenty of nanny yeast rolls, and a cold cucumber salad, a glass of iced tea, cup of coffee, soda water, whichever you prefer. Some of that good windmill water, nice and cold. Let's all eat and talk to old Henry Pickett. Henry Pickett, Abilene Livestock. How'd the sale go?
It was pretty good. We ended up with 861, and tracker cows and bulls were up a couple of $3, and calves and yearlings were 2 to 3 higher also.
Walk the pens with us. Talk to us about a couple of the groups that came through.
350 to 450 weight cattle were running, steers were running around $1.80. Heifers were running about $150. We had some pretty nice pairs yesterday. They're going back to country with light calves on them. They bring $1,375, and then some young bred cows bring $1,200.
Good deal. Do we know anything for next go round?
Not right now, but we had a lot of calls. It's starting to get dry, and everybody's trying to figure out what to do.
I understand. Well, we'll help them to market cattle there through Abilene Livestock every Tuesday. Henry Pickett, tell everybody how to contact you.
Here at the sale barn, we can be reached at 325-673-7865, or my cell number is 940-733-8208.
Neighbor, it's time for another feature from the Texas Farm Bureau Radio News Desk. Lots of you folks have veterinary medical needs on your farm and ranch. Here's Dr. Bob Judd.
Shoeing is important with suspensory ligament disease in horses. Hello everyone, I'm veterinarian Dr. Bob Judd with Texas Vet News on the Texas Farm Bureau Radio Network. And today I am continuing to talk about shoeing practices for horses with various injuries. Last program I talked about hoof pads and navicular disease. And today I am talking about shoeing with inflammation of the suspensory ligament just below the back of the horse's knee, also called desmitis of the proximal suspensory ligament. The suspensory ligament originates at the top of the cannon bone, just at the back of the knee, and continues down the back of the horse's cannon bone, where it divides into two branches just above the fetlock. Dr. Roger Smith from Royal Veterinary College in the UK indicates that vets tend to recommend egg bar shoes to reduce extension of the fetlock joint, and this decreased tension in the suspensory ligament. However, one study showed that working on hard ground with egg bar shoes actually increased tension on the suspensory ligament. Also, on soft ground, using an egg bar shoe is the same as elevating the heel by 5 degrees, which also increases suspensory ligament tension. So an egg bar shoe may not be the best option for suspensory ligament disease, but not everyone agrees. Instead, he likes to use a Suspensorex shoe made by Denoy that provides wide coverage in the toe region and narrow branches in the heels to prevent the toes from sinking in the ground and favors the heels sinking to prevent the wedge effect. Collateral ligaments of the coffin joint can also be damaged and can cause lameness, and although ultrasound can be used to make the diagnosis in some cases, the entire ligament can only be examined with an MRI. Using a shoe with a wide web on the side of the injury reduces sinking into soft ground and unloads the damaged ligament. These are just a few of the shoeing techniques that can be helpful for sport horse injuries.
6 F-35A fighter jets, 1 NFL team, a trip to the moon, all have $1 billion price tag. Something else that costs $1 billion? Respiratory challenges in cattle each year. It's time to fight back against costly respiratory challenges. That's why Purina starter feeds are formulated with RX3 immune support technology. It boosts calves' natural defenses, priming their immune systems from the start. Talk to your Purina rep to learn more.
You're more than a rancher. You do what's right and trust others to do the same. That's the Texas way. Hi, I'm Pat McDowell, and we ranch near Shamrock, Texas. In 2019, your dollars helped the beef-loving Texans brand reach consumers nearly 300 million times. Efforts like the hit Hulu series BarbecQuest and successful advertising prove that your checkoff is working hard to keep beef in its strongest state. Find out more at TexasBeefCheckoff.com, funded by the Texas Beef Council.
I'm Dr. Bob Judd. This is the Texas Farm Bureau Radio Network.
Neighbor, as we look at fat cattle prices, we think about the fact that if $95 in the South only purchased a few hundred head of fed cattle on Monday, 96 was able to purchase a few thousand more on Tuesday. In the North, Iowa sold a few head of cattle at 99 and Nebraska sold nada. The trade action is a confirmation of much stronger trading position of northern sellers and an abundance of cattle offered than south. This week may cast doubts regarding the ability of cattle owners to leverage their position into sharply higher prices. We have yet to see. The $100 asking prices in the South were ignored by processors who demonstrate every day their strong hand in acquiring cattle for slaughter. Packers will need many more cattle this week, as it appears likely more gains can be posted to cash prices. Now, this Friday, the USDA will release the semi-annual cattle inventory. The beef cattle numbers are expected to be lower by 1%, and the calf crop also 1% lower. Slaughter beef cows have been erratic due to the plant slowdowns and the virus, but will likely continue to exceed last year's, meaning the build phase of the cycle is over. The report also quantifies the number of steers and heifers over 500 pound included in feed yard numbers, but the composite numbers will be difficult as an attempt to ascertain the status of the backlog of those fed cattle is almost impossible. Now, neighbors, some of you are still hungry, including my cowboy crew. They're headed over to the Hungry Heifer at Caldwell Livestock Commission Company to grab a plate to go and then get some cattle shipped for Carl. Carl, what's that sale looking like?
Right now, I've been gone hauling cattle, but we've had a lot of cattle come in the barn and stuff, and I know of a lot of cattle coming tomorrow. I think we should have between 8 and 1,000, pretty easy. The calf run's good, not a whole lot of cows, thank goodness, and that tells me a little bit. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. But anyway, looks like we'll have a good run of calves and good calves, getting some strings of them, so I look forward to tomorrow.
Tell everybody how to get a hold of you for the Tuesday sale in Caldwell.
All right, our sale's on Wednesday.
Pardon me. Go ahead.
Not a problem. My number is 979-820-5349. Call the barn, 567-4119. Or for the Giddings and surrounding area, call Max Ebner at 540-8676.
You ever heard that phrase, a day late and a dollar short?
All the time.
That's my middle name. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Larry.
We're talking with Scott Stanislav, technical agronomist for DeKalb, Asgrow, and Delta Pine in South Texas. Scott, we haven't heard much about sugarcane aphids in sorghum this year, but I understand they're making a comeback here as harvest gets underway.
Yeah, I mean, we had some pockets early on down in the Rio Grande Valley, and they kind of that had to be treated and kind of blew up. And, here we're kind of in the middle of grain sorghum harvest across a lot of South Texas. And here recently, over the past week or so, we had a pretty big blow up of sugarcane aphids and some of the sorghum that's still out in the field ready to be harvested.
Well, is there anything that a grower needs to do at this point in the season to manage these aphids?
Yeah, and, of course, a lot of this grain sorghum gets Roundup as a desiccant before harvest to help dry it down. And as this sorghum dries down, those aphids will have a tendency to move up to the head, and that can really cause some problems at harvest. So really what we're encouraging a lot of folks to do is to, put in an insecticide with that Roundup shot to be able to at least take care of them long enough to be able to get that grain out of the field.
Thanks, Scott. Scott Stanislav, technical agronomist for DeKalb, Asgrow, and Delta Pine in South Texas.
Neighbor, as noted earlier, the cotton market is lower today, as the 2020 crop conditions seem to be improving and the harsh weather forecast is mitigating. On Monday afternoon, USDA reported a better crop rating for the 2020 crop. However, even though the current crop has improved to 47% good to excellent, this time of the year the crop stood at 60% good to excellent. So the 2020 production question is far from solved. As a side note, the Texas crop, which is the bullish driver for this move, improved 5 percentage points to 28% good to excellent. The latest weather forecasts now show a cooler and wetter weather pattern potentially developing in the national 6 to 10 day outlook. Currently, Lubbock area rain chances are up from 0 to 30, while Amarella's chances range from 40 to 60. For South Georgia, rain odds are 60 to 80%. Additionally, the National Hurricane Center is watching that tropical depression brewing in the Gulf. The system could form into a meaningful depression over the next 48 hours. Corpus Christi's local radio station says they're thinking about a 30% chance of that. And their cone of probability, not like we would have for a hurricane, but for a tropical depression or less, is somewhere between Houston and Corpus Christi. As we look at Thursday's weekly export sales report, we'll carry more pressure than normal. As the 2019-2020 season concludes on July 31, the 2020-2021 crop will be out front. To that end, the U.S.-China geopolitical row is heightening. This week, the U.S. State Department told Beijing to close its Houston consulate. The U.S. is accusing officials there of running an international hacking operation to steal certain intellectual property. China naturally denies the charges and threatens retaliation. It's interesting that there was a fire reported by bystanders near the Chinese consulate. Comes to find out they were burning documents inside the building. Hopefully such punishment will not come in the form of cotton cancellations. For today, support for December cotton lies at 62.30, then at 61.22, resistance at 64.20 and 64.90. The current estimated volume, 4,907 contract. Neighbor, let's take a look at our grains, courtesy of John Tuggle. Call 800-288-4453. Delivered to Corpus Christi in July. Number 2 or better sorghum. D's plus 115, $7.96. Houston, D's plus 145, $8.50. Progresso, $7. Yellow corn through Corpus in July. September plus 15, $3.37 and 3/4. Progresso, September plus 66, $3.89. Number 1 hard red winter wheat through Corpus in July. September plus 80, $5.22 and a half. Calling Houston, September plus $1, $5.42 and a half. Taking a look at soybeans through Houston, September, October delivery. November less 25, $8.68. We'll call Placido, November less 60, $8.33. East Texas, we move 329 bale of cotton. West Texas, 201 bale. Average price $58.41 to $60.91. AWP $50.26. LDP $1.74.